some property ran over. Ryan Austin is excused. All other members of the committee are present. We'll go around and do introductions, starting with Mr. Veneman.
Dean Benneman, Alderman District 2.
Jay Kavanaugh, Alderman, District 5.
Dennis Pollack, 6th Ward Alderman.
Patrick Delaney, District 7.
Matt Zackermeyer.
Sue Schill, City Attorney.
Item 2, discuss proposed revisions to Chapter 25 of the Municipal Code, specifically Sections 25.01, animals not to run at large, prohibited animals, dangerous animals, 25.02, barns, kennels, stables, pig pens, or other enclosures, 25.03, dog and cat regulations, 25.04, control of rabies and biting dogs or cats, 25.05, exemption permit, and 25.07, enforcement, investigation, and penalty. Attorney Schill.
Okay, so I worked a little more on this change document, showing the changes that were made. I don't know if you want me to go through this again. I think it's pretty self-explanatory of what was changed. I know the B thing I kept in there. I know that was something that someone maybe wanted to just discuss more. I'm not a bee expert, so I'm not sure, if you wanted to approve it without that section and then, maybe work on that section. But otherwise, everything else is just kind of some regrouping because of the way the ordinance was written before. It was just paragraphs of provisions, and so now it's set out in numbers and letters and grouped more appropriately under licensing and controls and so on. In yellow, I've pointed out the changes, basically the changes that were made and referenced those. So those are the things that would be substantive, that if you want to discuss more. But a lot of it, like I said, was just moving things around, adding the beast section. The chicken section I took out because there was no proposed changes to that. It was just that the old ordinance that I think that Mandy had originally had did not contain the newer changes that were made after the original adoption of the chicken ordinance. So no changes were suggested to be made to that. Like I said, a lot of rearranging. The maximum number of dogs and cats, though, is something that was talked about. Currently, you can have 2 dogs and 2 cats, and if you wanted more than 2 dogs or if you wanted more than 2 cats, you would have to go through that exemption permit process. This is, it was suggested, I think at one point it said 3, then it was suggested that it be 4. So it's written, as it is written now, is a suggestion of a maximum number of 4 before you would need to pursue the exemption permit. No changes to any of the other fees of licensing or anything like that. The provision I did add that every dog that is a service animal as defined under state statute is exempt from paying the dog license fee. I think that is how we were treating those animals, but it wasn't specifically put forth in our ordinance, so I just added that. Cats were added regarding controls, dog and cat controls instead of just dog controls. And then there was some taking out of specifically referencing the Humane Society and changing that to just a contracted animal sheltering organization in the event that you contract with someone else. We changed seeing eye dogs to service animals. Screening, we're just referencing the code, the zoning code on that, rather than trying to have a different standard of what is unsightly. So it's just basically under the standards in the zoning code. As I said, the maximum pets for this pet exemption. Otherwise, this is the same. just probably written a little more, made it more easy to read. Added the, increased the fee for the pet exemption permit to $25 from $20. That was the only change there. And added on page 11 that even if you have a pet exemption permit, that still does not allow you to operate or maintain a commercial enterprise on the premises, such as boarding or of animals and so on. That's would be prohibited except if allowed under any zoning, which I don't believe that it is allowed under any of our zoning currently, or at least not in residential. And then the enforcement, kind of worked on that language, and that is on the last page. So I don't know if there are any questions. I did not hear from anyone kind of about this since our last meeting. So
Sue, I think
mhm.
me and Brian were in agreement last time that we would not vote to approve this if the bees were included.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's still my stance. I think
Sure.
that honeybees need to be taken up separately, similar to the chicken ordinance. I don't think just updating it and putting it in here warrants it enough attention and information and looking at. I mean, I'm not an expert in honeybees. If we were to take that up separately, I think we could all learn a little more. Residents could be more aware, and we could craft the correct ordinance for it. I do know that, living in the city, if people were just to, put honeybees up and then the allergies to bees and their neighbors, and I just think that's something that needs to get taken up separately of the rest of this. So that's where I stand on it. Otherwise, the rest look good.
So I'm fine with the honeybee ordinance except for D4. I've read through it. I think it's well written. D4 is the only thing that I would, I'd just take that out. It's kind of, and then on page 8 of the packet, 2504, added cats. This is the one that I had recommended that we do either just dogs or we do pet or, it's hard to read my writing here. Oh, domesticated animal. So that people keep those under control. I think it's kind of, we take our cats down to the Humane Society. They keep them for a few days, castrate them, and let them go. So they said they did last year. Well, in 2023. So I think that's an additional burden that we're putting on ourselves when our own people that we contract out to, that's what they do. So I don't know if that's something that would make me not vote for it, but if you want to take out the bees, even though I think that it's fine, it's well written, there's no need to go over it again, but you guys can do whatever you want to do, I suppose. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to see the honeybee section stay in here. I did have actually I had a call on from a person that clued me in on quite a few things about having them. And if you really read it, I mean, you can't just stick it in your backyard. You have to almost have a vacant lot next to you. And basically, I was concerned too a little bit about people getting stung, but normally honeybees, I guess basically really, well, I can't say they wouldn't do it, but they basically are known to attack people. But I would like to see it remain in here.
Yeah, I'm not against the honeybees as it is. I just would like to see it taken up separately. And we had spoke about it at the last meeting. Alderman Austin was in agreement with that, so it seems like something that's split. I do think we need to get this updated, and the honeybee ordinance could come back, and at least we could get the rest of this in there. Is there anything else? Any other comments on this? Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the proposed revisions to Chapter 25 of the Municipal Code, removing honeybees from the ordinance.
I'll second.
Motion by Catnaw, second by Delaney. All those in the affirmative?
Yes.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Item 3, discuss a proposed city ordinance allowing residential neighborhood block parties by permit.
Okay, I made a few changes. Well, actually, I'm trying to think now. After the last time, I made changes after the first time, and I'm not sure if I made any changes here since I last sent it to you. Yeah, I after the last meeting, I made some changes. I sent it to everyone for comment, and I haven't heard anything. So this is the one that I sent you after the last legislative meeting and before the council meeting. So, but the previous changes were regarding an appeal right for the permit, making it clear that I think you could have girls on the street. We had added the alcohol would be okay, assuming it's a private event. So we made sure I stressed that this is for private events only. And I think those were the only changes that were made. Oh, noise. Instead of saying that you couldn't have any amplification, it basically just says excessive noise is prohibited. Noise complaints may require that noise amplification or other noise sources must end or that the event be ended. And that'll be more complaint driven, obviously. If the police are called and it's pretty noisy, they may request that you be quiet or the band stop or whatever it's causing the noise.
Thank you. Had time to look over this. Obviously, since this has come up, we've tweaked it. I think at this point, it's a well-written ordinance, and will give freedom to those who wish to have block parties. I would also add that, should we go through this summer or the following summer or in the future, if any of this seems to prohibit some block parties that they may have, or if different of these areas become hard to work with in a block party, we could always take a look at it. But based on other block party ordinances I've looked at around the state and what we started with, I think this has come to be a pretty good ordinance for the city, and I hope to see people holding these block parties, meeting their neighbors, building community, and it become a positive thing in the city.
I think it's great.
So I'm for the block parties. I would think that our ordinance would come out very maybe lenient or less restrictive as this one is, and kind of to promote the block parties. And then if we have problems, we can always add on to it. In my view, I think it's way too restrictive. It is very long, and but since we have nothing, I mean, it's better than nothing. So I'm going to vote for it just so that we have something. That's all. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Delaney, second by Catnall. All those in the affirmative?
Yes.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Item 4, adjournment. Second, move to adjourn by Delaney, second by Catnall. All those in the affirmative? Aye. Meeting adjourned at 7:11 p.m.